Back, ladies and gentlemen, and you're still watching Breakfast Show live here on Nile TV International. And as we mentioned earlier, we're dedicating this episode to discuss the plane crash that flew off Sinai Peninsula on October 31st with the 224 Russian passengers on board. The investigations are still taking place, and to shed more light on this issue, we're glad to be joined by Mr. Akram, tour guide and international lecturer, and Mr. Walid El Batouty, area representative of World Tour Guides Federation, Middle East and North Africa. Hello and good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And let's first talk about the press conference, Mr. El Batouty, that was held yesterday by Captain Ayman Al Muqaddim, and he revealed some truths. But he said that more truths will be unleashed as soon as the investigations will be concluded. So far, what's your own assessment?
Well, to start with, what happened is we have media reports, its own media reports. From these media reports and TV channels have been making statements as if they really know what happened, or as if they did it themselves, because they were very confident of what they're saying, to the extent that the public here, everybody was saying they have reached a level that they could say, we have done it. This cannot happen. And then there was a leakage. They said they intercepted, the MI6 intercepted a phone call between one of the terrorists and the ISIL. Well, if you did, why didn't you warn Russia? Why didn't you warn Egypt? People, civilians. I mean, it involves humans. What happened?
But how can you jump into conclusions without even opening the black boxes? It's common knowledge.
This is the.
Did it happen before?
Yes, of course, it happened before with Flight 990, Egypt Air.
The same thing.
It happens to be that the pilot was my uncle, by the way, and I was involved in the whole thing. The Batouty, yes. Let me tell you something. They make up a scenario
that he committed suicide, right?
Yes, and there was no black boxes yet, and then they enforce it down the throat of the people, and to the level that they make it a fact. They talk about it, and all what we've been doing is we're doing reaction. We never had an action at that time. And now in 2015 we're doing the same thing. We did let them say this. I mean, look at some of the TV channels. They went, Russia didn't do anything. They were very mature about what they have done, and we both came on television. We spoke about that. That's premature to talk about anything, but it seems to be that the media machine in the West was insisting to do something. I mean, they had an agenda. First of all, they have the president of Egypt in England. They wanted to do an embarrassment to the country. They wanted to in this situation of defending ourselves, and then at the same time they're saying, well, come and check the security measurements in your airport. That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable by all means for them to say this. Okay, this is a country, and then they come up and they say, okay, planes will take off without taking luggage. If you know something, bring it up. What is going on?
And up till now, the cause of that crash, 1999 crash, is unknown up till this moment.
It's unknown because they are the #1 suspect in it. Okay, so they made that the pilot committed suicide. They made that the pilot with an Islamic background, and then when it didn't work, then they made him that he wanted to commit suicide for other reasons. And it didn't work out. I mean,
it's a big drama.
It was a big drama, and they were stupid with what they've done. And this time as well, I see that they're very stupid. The way they made it looks like they're involved. They know.
We also remember the Malaysian air crash.
And still the truth is not out yet.
And why is Egypt in specific treated that way? I mean, that was all stories. These all stories were not made up at the time of the Malaysian crash.
We all have to understand that Egypt now is currently going in a war against terrorism. And much to my surprise, it seems like we're standing in this war alone. Unfortunately, the Western world and the Western are not helping us, and they're not supporting us in any way, even though they claim that they are. There's more politics into it. And we all have to understand that the Western media, by nature, they are hungry for news about this region. And the more negative, the more they sell. But they're hungry for negative news from this part of the world. What happened? Truly a frenzy of media, and it was all premature, extremely premature, because they started all these allegations, and it was all premature, extremely premature, because they started all these allegations before the black boxes were found, even before the analysis of the black boxes are made. And I think the Egyptian authorities acted very promptly, and they were very fast and quick, because they sent the officials to the crash site immediately. And we invited the Russian aviation investigations to come and see themselves what happened and try to help us and assist us. We also invited crash analysts from Germany, from France, to come and give us a hand on this, and they have not made any statement yet. So it is crazy to see the world media is doing a campaign against Egypt at this time, and I can tell you clearly that definitely it has more of a political motive in it. They want to embarrass Egypt. We have friends in the Western world. We have a lot of good friends, and they are the ones backing us up, but unfortunately they're not official. They are people like you and me. I mean, I've been receiving hundreds of phone calls and hundreds of messages in all social media.
We've seen the British people on interviews mentioning that even to leave Sharm el-Sheikh.
They don't want to leave Sharm el-Sheikh.
They're going to stay and continue their vacations, and they're enjoying everything, and they feel safe and everything.
I have friends that they have been to Sharm el-Sheikh more than any Egyptians have been. They love it. It's close by. I mean, it's 3 hours by air.
Even the British tourists themselves.
Because they know.
Of course,
they've
the
been
British
there before.
government evacuating their
the Russians too. The same situation with the Russians. But it's the government and the media, their media is pushing it out. They're really pushing it.
Mr. El Batouty, of course, this made-up story, homemade story by the Western media outlets, definitely there is a plan that was organized to make it, first of course we have the time element, the presidential visit, and which was not proper by any means according to diplomatical and the way they were making up, even before jumping to conclusions that way. They did it before in 1999, somewhere else in the United States, the US administration. But there are other parts of this, crisis or made-up plan, which is our part. There is a part which is the Egyptian media and also the tourism field. You people in charge of the tourism field, experts of the tourism field, you feel that we own half of the world relics and monuments and tourism. I mean, we are the best spots and the best weather all over the earth, where there are earthquakes here and there is bad weather there. And here always it's sunny and warm and everything, besides the hot charming spots. The media were supposed to be not allowing them to feed on this misery. So what do you think on our capacity to be able to respond to what you're doing?
How many TV channels you have here in Egypt?
Right, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah. How many TV channels you have in Egypt that speaks in English and aired abroad?
It's us.
Only Nile TV.
Only one, right? On the contrary,
we're trying our best.
I know you're doing your best, but let me tell you over here, they have, if I may say, we have one of the Gulf countries, a little country. They have a TV channel, who they 24/7 trying, or they 24/7 they're trying to badmouth Egypt as much as they can. They're trying to persuade people not to go to Egypt. They're trying to say in Egypt is and this and that. And I know that the United Kingdom has a British ambassador here in Egypt that speaks very good Arabic, and it's his job to tell the British government what they have done. Egypt is not a little country. Egypt is a major country in the region, big country. It's his role. It's his role to take it back to his government and tell them, hold on, wait a minute. you've committed a big mistake. It's like the Republic in the United States. The Republic in the United States, they have a senator, I remember during the 30th of June, there was a congressman, Louis Gohmert from Texas, Republican. He surprised in the Congress, and he had pictures, and he says, these are our friends. Egypt is our friend. Why are we doing this to them? Why are we provoking the people of Egypt and sending our media machine going all over and saying, coup, 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 and they were just saying, and they were provoking the Egyptians.
Until this very moment.
The Guardian, forget about the Guardian. The Guardian
The
lost.
Guardian is sold out.
I mean, they lost their credibility. The British media totally lost their credibility because they're sold. I mean, they're owned by Qatar. Let's speak frankly.
The biggest shares.
Yeah, they buy all the columns over there. They're all bought. Give me one name in the United Kingdom that could write something without the permission of Qatar. Okay, let's face it. Qatar is nothing. I mean, if we have the map and a fly on the map, it's going to cover Qatar. Qatar has a problem with Egypt. Qatar, they don't have someone like Abdel Halim Hafiz, or they don't have someone like him. They have no history, nothing.
No history, no culture.
I remember that we had a leader says, not everyone that stands out his tent with 2 camels and a goat is going to call himself an emir. Okay? I'm telling them, they should know this, and very shameful that the British are going into this. It was known before the school of media. They say you would work in television if you ever had the chance to work in BBC. Now, BBC is a TV channel or a radio that is totally bought. It's directed. I mean, there's no truth in it. Let me give you another example, which all the Egyptians are having fun since yesterday, about the British pilot. He says
he saw a missile.
He saw a missile and he did a maneuver. And yesterday, the whole Facebook and all the social media is making this. And I was about to be hit in the elevator by a rocket, and this and this and this. What is this? Someone says, I gave £20 to the security guy and he got me through. And a British person came to him and says, you have never been to Egypt. Now we have to pick this name and check him out in our computers and see if he's really been to Egypt or not. This is the way to find things. Is we have to look at the name of the person. I've been to Egypt, I paid £20, and we need to check through our computer system and see if he's really been to Egypt, because this, of course, doesn't happen. Maybe we're relaxed, maybe this is happening, maybe the comments that has been said that the guy at the machine was smoking. I mean, these are negative things, we can take care of it, okay? Yeah. But such allegation that I gave him £20 so he got me through the security check, this doesn't happen, okay? And we have to enlighten on the British, our friends, who is going against these things and telling them, stop it. I mean,
and highlight what they say.
Of course, the British people are saying, stop it.
We have friends all over the world, but to be realistic, yes, there was an air crash. Yes, 240 people died, but we are dramatizing it.
And it happens everywhere.
Yes, it happens. It need to happen. I mean, this is basics of physics.
We're one of the least countries on incidences of plane crashes.
But let's not dramatize it. Let's not make it a sensational story, and let's not connect it to politics. These are two different issues. What I see now is that the media is very much connecting it, you know, this and that. No, we should all stay cool and let the aviation investigators do their job. Right. Then we can say what happened. Then we can reach conclusions. But so far, this is all, you know, making a sensational story, you know, to sell the news. This is not right. This is absolutely not right, you know.
We've seen Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri meeting with his Hungarian counterpart, and of course we know that Hungary is one of the countries who did not evacuate their tourists from Egypt. Can you comment on these countries who took the decision not to evacuate their citizens from Egypt?
Because they knew the truth. Because their tourists on ground have told them that everything is safe, because they rely on reports, and because they have no interest in the political situation of the Middle East. You know, they're just visitors and tourists. Unfortunately, as I said, the Western European countries led by America. They are the ones that have an agenda in the Middle East, and they want to push it on us by no matter what. Okay. Let me again say that the British ambassador in Cairo yesterday, he made a nice, very friendly statement. And he said he and his government will truly do everything to bring the tourists back to, the British tourists back to Sharm el-Sheikh. That leads me to say that when Cameron did his statement and stopped the flights to Sharm el-Sheikh, he did not even consult his ambassador in Cairo. And that tells you that, you know, when our president was there, it was a chance to hit. They did not even consult their ambassador in Cairo, who came last night and made a nice and beautiful, friendly statement. You know, so that tell you that there is something being cooked in the dark, you know, for this region and for Egypt in particular.
So you think it was not a mere coincidence that the day the president was there and they took the decision of...
I think it was not a coincidence. I think it was all planned. And let's not forget that the Muslim Brothers and a lot of Egypt's enemy have been offered safe haven in the UK. And London is a big spot, it's a big hot spot for Egyptian defects.
They all live there.
And all the Muslim Brothers leaders and stuff. And they are the ones, unfortunately, that are now being appointed at the British government to be their advisors on Egypt and the Middle East. So the UK government is only listening to their side, and they're trying their eyes, you know, away from the truth and listening to the average people in the streets.
Right, Mr. El Batouty, it's very obvious for us in the media that the British side is, and the Western side, I mean the US and Britain in particular, is finding it very hard for Egypt to take the lead, retain the lead role again, whether they like it or no. Egypt is maintaining its key role again in the region because we are the only intact country that remained with integrity, away from all the terror or that plan of dissection and dividing the country and everything, and is also and has strength also. So they are finding it a little bit hard to accept that, whether they like it or no. You can never set foot in the Middle East without the help of the Egyptian government, without, acknowledging the reality that Egypt is having a big regional role here in the Middle East. So this is one thing that we, the media, are very aware of it, and everyone else should be aware of it also and should tell it to the whole world. The second thing is that we remember 9/11, when this happened, visitors coming over to the United States were never advised not to come near to the seaport in Manhattan to come and visit because there is terror threats and this is not a safe place.
Tourism was not mentioned in the issue.
That.
May I add to what you're saying? In the administration of the White House, there's an Egyptian girl, or with an Egyptian origin. Her name is Dalia Mujahid. She's a member of the Brotherhoods. I never called them Muslim.
She's an advisor.
I'm a Muslim.
She was an advisor to the administration.
Yes.
Terrorist
no,
elements.
I call them Brotherhoods only, because this has nothing to do with Islam. But she's an advisor to the President of the United States, and I'm sure there's someone from the US Embassy or from the UK Embassy or anybody around the world now could hear this, and we're speaking clear English and they can understand. I want them to go and search Dalia Mujahid's view concerning 9/11. She supports 9/11, and that's what we do. We both do this. We have a campaign. We do speak to Americans in the United States, and we tell them about Malik Hussein Obama, who was granted a permission to go into the White House and had dinner. Yes, he's the brother of the President of the United States. Good luck. But your brother is a terrorist. You should know this, Obama. Your brother is a terrorist. And I'm saying it loud and clear. I hope you understand that we understand that your brother is a terrorist and you support terrorism. Good luck. End of story. Dalia Mujahid, she works there. I mean, there's other names. I mean, I could bring you a list of names that they are on the payroll of the White House.
That could be serious reservations about the U.S. administration. It could be very, a big threat to the national security of the United States also.
They don't care. The American...
that could be taken as a reservation on our side also.
They don't care. Listen, they have paid money to their partners. Their partners are gone now. Their partners are not in power anymore. Their partners is the Brotherhoods, and they paid them. Right now, the partners is gone. They disappeared, some of them in jail. and some of them they escaped to Qatar, and some of them are in Turkey, and some of them are in England and all over Europe. Okay, and as Mr. Akram said earlier, Egypt is the only country fighting terrorism now. I believe when and Russia came in with us and they were bombing them in Syria, and then they told them, but you are bombing 6.2 kilometers far from their location.
We can't find those particular terrorists, but we can fight those terrorists.
You know, but you give me a break. They should change the idea of, yes, they have some agents in Egypt. Listen, we have to all admit that. They have agents in the media. They have agents in the intellectual people. They appear on television. Okay, and things like this shows them. I mean, I cannot understand that somebody is happy for what happened to Egypt, an Egyptian. I think they should strip him from his nationality immediately by even writing a post on Facebook or on Twitter or. I can see them, they're all coming back again and showing up and writing things. This is the time we'll all stand solid again, you know, behind our country. I don't want someone to say we all stand behind Sisi. Sisi is Egypt. Sisi right now presents Egypt. President Sisi presents Egypt. Every Egyptian was so down because of what happened to our president when he was over there, right? The timing was meant to be, and they did it deliberately, and it's not acceptable, and it will not be forgiven, right? And their ambassador should take this to his government and say, I think we've damaged the relationship between the Egyptians and the British. Yes, between the people, we have no problem. But now we have a problem with the British government. Clear. It is not acceptable what they have done when our president is over there, because we have dignity, we have right, and we do not accept to do such a thing. This is an act. I think I can clearly say that the British, if they do not come by maximum today, by press conference and saying, this is what we have, then they are suspect number one. I accuse the British government that they are suspect in, if this plane is being taken down by a sabotage, then the British are responsible. Because if they knew and they did not inform us to stop it, or at least warn us, or at least say from the beginning, but
they could be held accountable for their own word. If you can allow us, gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick report that shows how Sharm el-Sheikh is still staying intact and how people are flowing in, and not only tourists but also Egyptians, because the weather there is great. Let's go there and we'll come back with our gentlemen.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're still following on the plane crash incident and the repercussion of the incident and the investigations currently taking place. And back to you, gentlemen. And I would like to go back to the issue of the countries who did not suspend their tourists coming to Egypt. What message does this give to the world?
Well, it gives the world a clear message that everything is fine and everything is in order. And the whole thing is dramatized tremendously. I mean, accidents do happen, and they will still happen anywhere in the world. I mean, God forbids, but you know, these things happen. I think we should hope wait for the results of the analysis of the black boxes, then we have to have a plan. The countries that have stood by us and never stopped their tourist traffic, they should be given some privileges. They should be honored and given certain bonuses. And the countries that have pulled out, well, we should give them the red eye. You know, I mean, we do not take these things easily. That our national pride and dignity has been really hurt by all these allegations. Till today, it is all allegations against us. And I've been watching the foreign media and foreign press lately, and they're bringing out things that we never heard about, that we've never seen. You know, so they're sort of searching for anything negative to bring out. Not even at the airport security, but on almost everything in the Egyptian lifestyle. So I think our national pride and dignity has been hurt severely, and I think we should act, but as soon as the results come out. You know, there are so many things we can do that, and we can show that by. Okay, but as I said, we have to be on the right side, and we have to wait till everything. We cannot jump into our conclusions ourselves. We have to wait till all the results are out, and then we should have a plan. Then I think we should have a crisis team, you know, crisis team. We have to have situations every angle and every perspective, and we should also. So
you think a crisis management team should be formed to handle the situation
and be
from
active
all sides?
The time, and be active all the time, not only for air crashes, but for anything else, even for natural disasters, car accidents, anything.
Natural disasters.
We have to be ready and waiting. Sorry, not waiting.
The government,
it have to be activated and reactivated.
One yesterday.
What? Okay, that's a little too late, but a little too late, but still not late.
Time ago.
Yeah, we should have one like this, and we should have our press people also ready for these foreign press attacks and have answers to all these claims and allegations.
Right. Mr. El Batouty, Mr. Alam raised a very important point, which is we should have a plan. We, on our part as the media, we have our reservations on the media outlets. I mean, as professional people, when you want to raise a counter attack campaign against anything, any issue, a counter issue against any country, it should be based on credible facts. They lost credibility, and credibility is the ABC of media. When I raise a counter campaign against one country, like Mr. I do not make up, stories. So I should have credibility, otherwise I'm not professional. And this is our reservations. I mean, if you want to raise a campaign, just do it the right way, according to the rules. This is one thing. And you, again, going back to our main story, or our main point or focus, you are people, professionals in your field of tourism. Do you think that this is really going to affect the tourism in Egypt? This rich environment, I mean, this gorgeous weather, the beautiful places,
It did.
Yes, it did. But
to what extent?
It will pick up again.
It will pick up again, and fast, and soon. It's not going to take. Look, the Russian market. Let's look at the Russian market. Of course, do you know where most of the Russian tourists now is being diverted to Turkey? Okay, we'll talk about this later on. But right now, the Russian market cannot have any other place than Egypt. They love Sharm el-Sheikh, they love Hurghada, they love Marsa Alam. It's their destination.
What's the percentage of Russian tourists in Sharm el-Sheikh?
Russia gives us 2.8 million tourists every year.
It's a big number,
but
and
you have
we
other
value their
sources
business.
also. But we could work on other sources also. I mean, other than Russians.
When they badmouth you and they hit you, we have to say the truth. Yes, it's going to affect. Some people are saying, oh, but the Russian tourism was cheap. No, they come on a charter flights. Definitely people are not losing. Definitely there was a little bit is made on the side. Definitely there was jobs. Definitely.
Of course, I understand that. But Mr. El Batouty, allow me here to tell you, I'm not an expert in the tourism field, but how can you badmouth a country where it's the only country where there are sectarian strifes everywhere, and it's boiling? People are killing and beheading and decapping other people from different religions and different sects. And Egypt is the only place where you are an atheist, you are a Jew, you are a Christian, a Muslim, or whoever you are black or white, there is no racism. and they can accept you on a cafe and give you shisha, give you coffee, talk with you, chat, and I mean exchange jokes with you. Even the layman in the street, the illiterate. So you cannot badmouth that. This is reality here in our country. When you don't have money, you're lost in they can lend you money. But the weather is amazing. Yes.
We have stories. I mean, we went through this, and sometimes we play it even with the clients, with the tourists, and we tell them, I mean, I would say...
I mean, the number of all those temples in Luxor and Aswan, and that river Nile, is that available anywhere else?
Don't forget, too, that when now, and in Russia and in Western Europe, winter is really crucial, and you will be covered. People will be covered in snow, and their dream is to come to a sunny area, a sunny beach, and enjoy it. Not only that, and the price we offer them is really...
And the organic food also.
The food, yeah, everything. I mean, and the peace of mind and everything. Beautiful hotels, beautiful service, and everything. And the prices we offer them is really to meet and match everyone's
budget. It's much better than the prices offered to Egyptians.
It's the cheapest.
Your friend, the British guy that keeps coming to Sharm el-Sheikh.
17 times. I have a friend from England, and he comes to Sharm el-Sheikh in 1 year.
And they get much better prices than we
not only
get
that,
Egyptians
he told me
here.
that he's been to Sharm el-Sheikh 17 times. I told him in all my life I haven't been to Sharm el-Sheikh 17 times, and I'm Egyptian. He said it's cheaper than staying at home.
Let me take that opportunity and ask you, as an expert in this field, on 1 out of 10, how do you think Egypt is special or distinguished among other countries? I mean, the things that distinguish Egypt among in the field of tourism, that they won't find it anywhere else.
Everything. Well, that history, of course.
Monuments.
Monuments.
We have, I think, in Luxor,
the
we have
history,
1/3
the
of
history,
the world
weather.
monuments in Luxor.
We used to ask the people before they left the country, what was the best thing you've seen in Egypt in your visit? And believe it or not, most of them said the Egyptian people.
Exactly.
You know, the way the people smile at your face, the way they greet you in the street, the way they want to joke with you, the way they... There are no boundaries between an Egyptian and a tourist. Don't forget, we are the only country in the region that's been open to the tourists of the Roman Empire. You know, there are other countries now that are so restricted. We are open, and the Egyptian culture and the Egyptian way of life is very much accommodating, and it makes everyone feel comfortable, because we're trying to make every Egyptian be as hospitable as his nature.
By nature.
You know, yeah. When I come and visit you at home, you will welcome me, definitely, even if you don't know me. You'll open the doors.
This is our culture.
This is our culture, and that's our history. You know, and this is something you cannot take away from us. While you might be living in a house in the UK or in New York all your life, and you don't know your neighbor. You've never met your neighbor, and you know, and you don't know each other. So we have a lot of good qualities in the country itself. The warmth of the people. We are nice. We are hospitable by nature, and we have everything that it takes to have a of the tourist, cut. But let's start. We should improve. We should work to meet world standards. I mean, our 5-star hotels should be really 5-star hotels. Our cab drivers should speak a language and should be honest and decent and should use their meters. You know, every life is connected to the tour business. Everyone, whether you know it or not. Even the man who sells peanuts in the streets, he has a cut of this. The man who is a tour driver in Edfu or in Komombo, they have a cut of this. So every Egyptian citizen should show his best and his warm, hospitable manner to the tourists. Let's keep it that way. And we can use everything that God gave us. Egypt has 1 million of wonderful things that could attract the world to here. You know, I mean, it's a long list. I've been campaigning recently for our food, our Egyptian cuisine. We should use our Egyptian cuisine as a way to attract tourists. You know, Yanni, that was touring with my friend Walid here, he fell in love with the molokhia. And he's been ordering it in his room every day for 3 times a day. I mean,
he has a Greek origin, to my belief.
Right? Yes.
Great celebrity in the United States.
We need to invite people like him,
worldwide,
with big names, big celebrities. They will bring media with them. They will attract them.
I remember Champagne came to Tahrir Square immediately after.
I saw him there too.
All right.
I mean, there are so many things we should see now, and we will be so out of time and out of reach if we let this time, when the business is down now, if we just let it go through like this. We should improve ourselves in these times when the business is down. We should improve. We should study. We should see our weak points and improve it, you know. Then when the tourists come back, we will be ready and waiting for it.
Can I tell you a thing that I would like to address the Minister of Education in Egypt? I want him to pay a visit to all the private schools and international schools. Believe it or not, they all have a subject called tourism. All of them.
They all have, come again?
A subject that they teach.
To study.
A study. It's called tourism.
In the curriculum, you mean?
In the curriculum. Can you imagine?
Have, come again?
A subject that they teach.
To study.
A study. It's called tourism.
In the curriculum, you mean?
In the curriculum. Can you imagine? All the international schools, all the foreign schools are doing this. Why don't we also do this in all
public schools?
In the public schools.
And they, I'm sure they will have a lot of experts and give some of their time to start. We need to start a national campaign, not a campaign in Cairo, not in Giza, in Alexandria, no.
And starting with the new generations specifically.
With the new built up for another 20 years. If we plan for tomorrow, that's not going to. I want you to put the seed now, planning that this is going to come out in 20 years.
Right. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, gentlemen, but one final thought from every and each one of you to the people who are watching us, the non-Egyptians. What would you say?
The non-Egyptians, I'm telling you now loud and clear, Egypt is nice, Egypt is safe, Egypt is still waiting for you. Don't believe the allegations until they are proven. Wait till the final analysis, the final report comes out from the aviation investigators. I'm also asking the foreign governments to not push into situations, jump into conclusions, and not to come to premature actions. Let's all wait. Accidents do happen and will happen, so let's just wait, be cool, and wait for the results, and then start reacting.
Right.
To the British government, I would like to say, when you solve who killed Diana, then come and solve the plane crash, the Russian plane crash.
Right.
When you solve who killed Kennedy, then you can solve the plane. When you solve what happened to Egypt Air.
With that final note, we would, very important final note, we would like to end. Thank you very much, Mr. Akram Alem, tour guide and international lecturer. Mr. Walid El Batouty, area representative of World Tour Guide Federation, Middle East and North Africa. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And dear viewers, you were in the company of Naveen Ramzi and Dina Hussein. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.